Hello, students. I hope everything is going well for you. So I'd like to talk about a topic from German 112. That is the dative case with possessive pronouns. So last time we talked about the dative case, so we'll briefly review that for a moment here. Okay? So the dative case. My computer's thinking. This is GERM 112. So as we said before, the dative case is used in three instances. One, for indirect objects. That is, items that are receiving the benefit between the action that's going on between the subject and the direct object. So for example, die Frau schreibt der Mutter einen Brief. So in this sentence, die Frau is the subject because she's writing. Einen Brief is the direct object because that's the thing being written. But the letter's being written to the mother, so it becomes der Mutter. Okay? Then we have the dative case we use for dative prepositions. And these are going to be aus, which means out of, außer, with the exception of, by means at or with, mit means with, nach means toward or after, seit means since, von means from, of, by, and zu means towards. Okay? Example of a dative preposition. Ich fliege. Ich fahre von der Stadt. Okay? Ich fahre von der Stadt. I drive from the city. So it becomes der Stadt instead of die Stadt. And then the third case, we have dative verbs. And I sent you a list of the most common dative verbs, but helfen, danken, gefallen. Okay. So das Essen gefällt mir. The food was pleasing to me, but of course we would say I like the food. Okay? Let's look at the dative definite articles. Okay? For the nominative, and we'll put the dative here. The nominative der, but the dative dem. Die becomes der, das becomes dem, same as a der. And then the plural becomes dem. Okay? So dem, der, dem, dem. Let's look at the dative or indefinite articles. They're going to be for the nominative. We're going to have ein, but for the dative, it can become einem for der words. Eine becomes ein and ein for das becomes einem. And then, of course, we have kein for the indefinite articles, keine, and that's going to become keinen, keinen. Okay? And also remember, for dative plurals, you add an N to the plural of the word if you can, when it's in the dative case. Okay? Then we have the dative for personal pronouns. So ich becomes mir, du becomes dir, becomes ihm, sie becomes ihr, and es becomes ihm, Wir becomes uns, ihr, euch, sie, formal becomes ihnen, and they becomes ihnen also with a little I. Okay? Okay, now we're ready to look at possessive. Okay? And actually, let me tell you this, that they're going to follow the pattern for indefinite articles, okay? Because possessive adjectives are considered, or possessive pronouns are considered ein words, okay? So let's see how this works for the possessives. For ich, well, let's start with mine. That's going to become, for the masculine, hold on one moment. Okay, we'll share again here. So let's see what happens with these. So for the possessive pronoun, the base forms, I have mine, dein, sein, ihr, sein, unser, euer, ihr, and ihre, little ihre, okay? Now, how they're going to change depends on whether they're masculine, feminine, or neuter, okay? So for masculine, it's going to become meinem. Dein is going to become deinem. Sein becomes seinem. Ihr becomes ihrem. Seinem again. And then unserem, eurem, ihrem, and ihrem. That's a capital here. Okay, let's zoom that out a little bit so we can get them all on there. Now, for the feminine, they're going to become meiner, deiner, seiner, ihre, seiner, unsere, eure, ihre, and ihre. Masculine, feminine, and then we'll do the neutral. That's going to be the same as the masculine. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to put in here masculine and then the neutral, okay? And then we'll get a row here for the plural. That's going to become meinen, deinen, seinen, ihren, seinen, unseren, euren, ihren, and ihren. And that's going to be capital always, sorry. Okay. Okay, so let's do a couple examples with these here, okay? So basically, let me repeat again. The masculine you're going to take the base form and add an em to it. So it becomes meinem, deinem, seinem, and so forth. Okay? The feminines are going to end in er, and the plurals are going to end in en. Okay? Okay, so some examples for that. Let me share again. Let's take a sentence here. We'll take the one we wrote before here. What was it? Die Frau schreibt der Mutter einen Brief. So let's look at that here. If I wanted to write, I could do it that way, but if I wanted to say, die Frau schreibt, if the woman wrote her mother a letter, then it would become, die Frau schreibt ihrer Mutter einen Brief. Okay? That's going to be, the woman writes her mother a letter. Okay? Do another example. We'll say the children buy their father a present. Okay? I could do it with the accusative case. Die Kinder kaufen ein Geschenk für ihren Vater. That's with the accusative case. Okay? I'll rewrite this one again. The children buy a present for their father. But it's easier to express it in the dative case, less words. I don't need a preposition. Kinder kaufen ihrem Vater ein Geschenk. Okay? There it is with the dative. The children Let's do an example with plurals, okay? Bruce cooks his guests a pizza, or let's say a dinner. Okay? So Bruce kocht seinen Gästen ein Abendessen. So it's going to be seinen Gästen. It's die Gäste, der Gast, die Gäste, but Gästen for the dative case. Okay? And it works for the prepositions too. Okay? So for example, ich fahre von meiner Stadt. I drive from my city. Okay? Or wir gehen zu unserem Haus. We're going to our building or our house, whichever one you have there. Okay? And then also with the dative verbs. Der Sohn hilft seinen Eltern. Sohn hilft seinen Eltern. Okay. So again, that's all there is to the dative case. Okay, so it's not really very hard. Like I said, it follows ein, follows the ein words. And now I'm going to share with you another screen here. And this is something I'll be sending you also. But here's a complete table of definite articles for the nominative, accusative, and dative. So you can see how they look like. We didn't talk about genitive yet, but we will in the future if you take the next German. Then the indefinite articles, you can see how they change. And then without articles. And then the pronouns. And then on the other page, you don't really need this page, but a student really wanted me to put it together. But we have the nominative for all the possessive articles, the accusative for all the possessive articles, the dative for all the possessive articles, and then the genitive for in the future. Okay, but you don't have to worry about the dative. Okay, so there. That's everything I have to tell you about the dative case and possessive pronouns. Okay, schönen Abend.